Hi, I'm going to do a distance application problem, and the formula that we need to remember is that it's distance equals rate times time, and that's always, okay? So Bob drove from home to work at 45 miles per hour, so that's his rate to work. So I'm going to put 45 miles per hour here. I like to fill out this table. It makes it set up nice afterwards. After work, the traffic was heavier and he drove home at 40 miles per hour. His driving time to and from work, so that's both there and back, was 1 hour and 25 minutes. So one thing you need to notice is that since the rate is in miles per hour, we cannot have minutes here. So we need to figure out in fraction what this time is. So I know there's 60 minutes in an hour, so this is 25/60th of an hour. And 1 hour would be 60 over 60. So if I were to add them, I add the numerators, 60 plus 25 is 85 over 60. And then I need to reduce to lowest terms, and I believe I can 5 will go into the top and the bottom. So when I divide 85 divided by 5, that gives me 17, and 60 divided by 5 gives me 12. So my time to and from work is 17/12 hours. I know that doesn't make sense, but it works mathematically. So I like to use t for time, so I'm going to let one of these be t. It really doesn't matter which one you let be. It works out both ways. So I'm going to let the top one, going to work, to be the time it takes to get to work. Then I know that work home, we have to take the total time it took, which is the 17/12, and we subtract the time it took to get to work, which we said was t. So that's where you get the 17/12 minus t. Now as for the distance, we know that it's the same distance to work and from work. So I'm going to write distance as d. So I have my equations. If I go distance equals 45 times time, and then the second one is distance equals 45 times this, and since this is a binomial, 17/12 minus t, let's put parentheses. So those are my two equations. Let me rewrite that. Okay, now since they're both equal to d, we can use the substitution method and just replace this 45t in for this d in the second equation. Okay, so I can rewrite this to be 45t equals the 40 times 17/12 minus t. Now let's simplify that by multiplying that in. So I get 45t equals, and this is like saying 40 over 1. So I go 40 times the 17. That gives me 680 over 1 times 12, which is 12. And then we do the 40 times the negative t, which gives me a negative 40t. Okay, so let's add the 40t to the left side. And that gives me 85t equals 680 over 12. That can be reduced, but let's see what goes into that. Probably 4. So let's divide this by 4, top and bottom. So 680 divided by 4 is 170. And 12 divided by 4 is 3. So we can just kind of cross this out. Okay? Now, what we need to do to solve for t is we divide both sides by 85. And this looks a little weird, but what you're going to do is basically go 170 over 3 divided by 85 that way. Okay, so this becomes 85 over 1. And we're going to flip the second fraction and multiply. So 170 over 3 times 1 over 85. So 85 times 3 is 255. So we have 170 over 255. And I know 5 goes into both of them, so let's try dividing by 5. So this gives me 51, and 170 divided by 5 is 34. Oh, that one's a tough one, because it looks like, if I remember right, 17 goes into both 34 and 51. Let me see. 51 divided by 17 is 3, yes. So that one's kind of a tricky one. So I'm dividing top and bottom by 17. So that gives me 2/3. So my time is 2/3 of an hour. But we wanted to find the distance. We wanted to find how far he lives from his job. So the way we do it is we take one of our original equations, and I would probably take the easier one. D equals 45t. And I'm going to take this 2/3 that I found, which is t, and replace it in here in the equation. So that gives me d equals 45 times 2/3. I'm going to put it 45 over 1. So that gives me 90 over 3. And 90 divided by 3 is 30. So, and that is distance. So he lives 30 miles from work. The trick here is to make sure that your time is the same as your rate, all in hours, and it's okay to work with the fraction on that. Because mathematically it will all come out at the end. So I hope this helps.